possibility in Ashgabat. I saw a taste to get love of awakening. The presentation shows all parents say now continue and all research.
Okay, thank you everyone. And first, my question is from Ladakh, and today I'm talking about the Bakuit. Instead of first with him, he's 81 years old, like my grandfather, and also from the people, tribal people Ladakh. Okay, so our presentation is Bakuit in Ladakh, subtitled The Roots of the 126 Noodle. What do you? Where is Ladakh? You know? Yeah. So Ladakh is located in the northernmost part of India. It takes 1 hour by flight from Delhi and across the Himalaya and arrives at the main city of Leh along the Indus River.
The altitude of Leh is more than 3,500 meters. Oxygen is scarce, and it is a severe alpine region. Ladakh was an independent kingdom period until around 1,800 years, and till 1974, foreigners were prohibited from entering due to military circumstances. So we were convinced that traditional Bakuit dishes are still inherited in these places, and we came to investigation. We visited twice to investigate Ladakh Bakuit. In the first, and in 2015, we stayed at the Tibetan Buddhist temple and the farmhouse in the village of Skirupujang in the 120-kilometer area along the Indus River from the town of Leh. In the second, conducted a similar survey by staying in the Muslim village Turtuk near the border with Pakistan over Kardunla at an altitude of 5,300 meters north of Leh.
Okay, the first, this is the Skirupujang village. It was the spread house along the Indus River with an altitude of 3,000 meters. The Tibetan Buddhist temple was built by the shaving the walls of the canyon. And right below, there are a lot of buckwheat fields and naked barley fields with double cropping. It was very, very peaceful and beautiful village there, and they called it Bakuit Dao. K2 peak with an altitude of 2,800 meters. This is a K2. And this village was bordered after the India-Pakistan war and now belongs to the India. But ethnically, it belongs to the Pakistan people. And that is common in Pakistan now. So, and Bakuit, they call it Stamma. It's, I think, Urdu. So, we have the 3 discovery points. One is the common food culture in the both area. Second is the discovery of the ancient fry pan. And the third is the use of the one food. It can be guessed from the 1 and the 2 point. We found the same cooking material and recipe and Bakuit menus in the different area. Okay, see. Firstly, it is about cooking material. It's stone mortar. This is told that the old cooking tools in the world, almost 6,000 years ago, is it? And it was still used as milling flour, spices, and nuts and buckwheat in the both areas. So what we can get? This This shows that there have been powdered food culture in the area from the very ancient times. And this is a very classic water milling wells used for milling barley, wheat, and buckwheat. This makes it possible automatically and large amount of milling. It's very big innovation. It's also powder food culture has flourished after that. Okay, next is the common buckwheat food menu to the boss area. This is baba and zam. That is cleaning the buckwheat in the hot water. Normally, Muslim family have many families, so they surrounded the big plate and pick up and eat with the one hand and one knee is standing. Next is tapu and pratu, which are triangle pyramid. It looks buckwheat seed, kneaded and boiled with nut sauce. In Buddhism, it's taught that by putting the monk's blood put inside, it's like the protection from the battlefield. And next is the tenten and the kesel. This is a very primitive dish that comes with floral culture from the Middle East. So, I want to ask you, why do they have so many common food and common culture in the both different religion and ethnic group? Why? The answer is in religion. This Muslim began since 20th century, and 500 years ago from them, Tibetan Buddhism started from the 7th century. But it should be that the ancient Gandhara Buddhism in 2nd century before century BC are their same ancient ancestor, and they must have taken over the food culture from them. Okay, the second point. We found the stone fry pan is very rare. That baked the pancake, baking in the boss area. Yes. This is a stone fry pan founded in a Greek ruin as a Cycladic civilization in 2500 BC. Very, very ancient one. So why was ancient Greek culture seen in the North India? Such a very far place from the Greek. You can understand by looking at the big conquered area by great King Emperor Alexandros. The red line is his conquest area that extends up to the Indus River here. And his conquest was a way to build a city in that area so far from Greek lifestyle and also the culture influenced up to from here to North India. The fusion of Greek and Indian culture is called Hellenistic culture. And one of the most famous in Hellenistic culture is a Buddha statue made under the strong influence of Greek and Roman art by a very realistic style. Maybe someone you know? So therefore, the Buddha statue and the lifestyle and the food culture were also influenced by the Greece and the stone fry pan in like such a way. The third point. The buckwheat food in both region, Kim stew and simbari. It is hand-twisted noodle. That's a very, very old noodle making method that was made by rubbing hands together like this. And this noodle takes a lot of time and effort. So in both areas, it is not regular meal. It's like only the occasional food. And this hand-twisted noodle is called raguma and spreading throughout the Central Asia. I think some participants can see. You can find it in your country. Uzbekistan, Turkestan, Kyrgyz, Uyghur, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and China, and also in Japan. So, next, let's see the place where you can see the hand-twisted noodle on this map. Ladakh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Turkestan, Kyrgyzstan, Uyghur, China, and Japan. So, what do you get there? This is a road. And this road is exactly fitting the same road. So what are we saying? Yes, this is the Buddhist propagation road. The Buddhist road still has the raguma, occasional food as a feast. From here, we get but this is a question for you again. Don't you think this gesture made by the hand-twisted noodle looks same? Something? Yeah, exactly. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, yes, it is very similar Buddhist and also Hinduism. Namaste. Because of this player gesture, the special occasional dish, hand-twisted noodle, was created by the ancient Buddhists. That is our guess. Conclusion. So arranging the information till now together. The first, kneading tools and powdered food culture entered the Gandhara from the Greece by the Hellenistic culture. And hand-twisted noodle made by the ancient Gandhara Buddhists in the North India and the Ladakh. And spreading, propagating to Buddhism road and spreading to the Central Asia, China and Japan. This is a way of spreading noodle from Ladakh, we guess. Additional. So we want to talk about the Japanese soba. Raguma originated in Ladakh along with Buddhism road, was spreading to the Central Asia. It is thought that finally it made as Japanese soba. It's chopping by heavy knife. So therefore, the roots of our Japanese soba, which was Japanese everyone loved, is from Ladakh or North India. So we feel very familiar with India and also North India. And this is a picture just buckwheat in Ladakh 2019 September, just a few days back. And around Leh, now the buckwheat field is increasing year and year after our visiting. Okay, the last. This is we performed Japanese soba to Ladakhi people in 2016. This one. And next is the Tibetan Buddhist. We also performed the Japanese soba. Okay, finally, thank you to all collaborators and past research participants, Ladakhi people, all of you listening, and IBRA. We wish IBRA more and more development. Julie.
Of this presentation, I so appreciate that Professor Onishi and Hikeyasu of Kyoto University for giving me advice. And after the symposium, I conducted another tour. We wanted to take part in there. Thank you very much.